I have to be honest, I didn't like Chelsea. I had nothing against them when I was at West Ham, really. And then I signed for Manchester United, and then Mourinho came, and it's like they're trying to take the Premier League out of my cabinet. It feels like someone's coming and trying to thieve something off you. Abramovich coming in, buying up all the big players around Europe. They turned from being an OK football club to being a successful one. The club has changed. Is it evolution or is this a revolution? Now, with the transfer ban, they've had to invest in the youth. They've probably had the best youth team for the last 6-7 years. They've won everything, they broke all the records, but you haven't seen that transpire into young players coming into the first team and being consistent, valid members of that first team squad until now. Is that a coincidence because Frank's come here and they've got a transfer ban, or was that something on their mind they were trying to do anyway? So I'd love to get to the bottom of that. We're off to Chelsea's training ground to go and see my old teammate, Frank Lampard, who used to sit on a sofa with me in the studios at BT. He's gone into management, dream job. The climb's been radical, so we want to go and see what he's up to, see how he's taking it in. Frank, what's happening?
Yeah, welcome.
You all right? Thank you.
Good, mate. Good
welcome to your home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us in.
No problem. Pleasure.
You're going to show us what you got planned for today?
Come and see what we do.
Your dad used to say one thing to us all the time on the training pitch: work hard here, make your luck for a Saturday.
Yeah.
Always. So
yeah.
Does that same apply when you're...
I think that's got even more true, because I always felt that I had different limitations in my game, like we all do. When you're a manager, you see it as a group thing. So you know what I mean? So you see that as a collective of everybody, I suppose.
Does it feel like you haven't got enough time in the day sometimes for what you want to do?
Yeah,
I can imagine that.
You also had all the variables of fitness and sports science and play. So sometimes you want to work and you're like, what's the balance of work here? How much? Because I like to do quite
intensity.
a bit of, intensity, and sometimes you want to repeat. So you want to add them out there for hours and hours, but at the same time, someone's telling you that you can't keep them out there that long. You need to balance off the feeling in the group as much as how much you train.
I could ask millions and millions of questions. Let's get inside.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
See what's
have
going
a
on.
cup of tea.
Oh, it's cold, man. I didn't get dressed for this. We're just going to go out and watch the boys train into this lovely English weather. How you doing? You okay? Good to see you, mate. You all right? They'll train and be getting ready for the game at the weekend. Big game. You good? How's the family? How's your mum and dad? Good, yeah? Good to see you, man. How you doing? And you good? Yeah, good, nice, man. How you doing, mate? Nice. You all right? You good? Wildy texted, didn't he? Yeah, good. Good. You all right, yeah?
Yeah, all good, dude.
Good, man, good. Hey, how you doing? You good? Yeah, good, you? Nice to see you. Hello, my friend. Good. Hey.
Okay, good.
Okay. Hey, you okay?
Yeah, good, you?
Good to see you. Good, man. You good? Fit?
Yeah.
Good. Good luck. You know what, it wasn't always like this at Chelsea. It wasn't always that warm welcome that I'm getting now. But that's what happens when you retire. This is where all of that, the real graft and the real detail gets put into the players, and which this is the part I like. No matter what training ground you go to, there's that smell that takes you back. It's nice. The keepers are always the lunatics on their own. They always train on their own. A massive difference from being a player and the time, how consuming it is being a manager. But he loves it. You can see it in his voice, in his face, in his eyes. You can see he loves it. What's not to love about doing this other than the weather? Anyone can sit there and everyone on the outside can say, oh, it's maybe a bit too early. Is it a bit too soon for him? They didn't have the experience, etc. But if you're Frank, there's no way you turn this opportunity down. No chance. How can you say no? You can't.
If you have your shot on the cross, I've got another ball, I'm going to feed Bunny out, so be alive.
I ain't signing for Chelsea. Don't worry. This means nothing about my allegiance where it lies. This is only on because I'm cold. I feel like a scout.
There's some good people here.
How you doing? You okay? Good to see you. This is what I've been looking forward to. I've got to be honest with you. Obviously seeing him, speaking to him, but I wanted to see what he's like on a training pitch. Does he take the session? Is he vocal? Because you've got to remember, when I played with Frank, he wasn't loud, he wasn't someone who spoke loads. He was more of a leader by example. He trained hard, worked hard, professional in everything he'd done. But he wasn't someone who was really vocal at people. He left that to others. Whereas here, the first voice I heard on the training pitch just now, loud and clear, was Frank's.
Yes, Georgie, you're in.
You know the manager is straight away. It's lovely to see, man. I love it. Oh, what a finish. This is how Frank trained, high intensity every session. Play like it's a match. Don't play slow. I've been really impressed with the young academy boys coming into the first team squad, playing, getting game time, justifying why they've been selected, why they're a part of it now. The likes of Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Tamori, Reece James. These are young players of huge potential, and these guys are now internationals. Fikayo's a young defender, so obviously I'm interested in seeing what he's about, how good he is. He's someone who's got really, really good pace, really good mover. There's a lot to learn still. Little tweaks of his game that once he gets them right, you'll see, I think, a real good defender in there. Fikayo, young centre-back, old former centre-back, so very interested to kind of get your views on how you're developing. Coming through here at Chelsea, always had great players coming through here, but not really got into the first team on a consistent basis. Did you see a pathway when you signed as a kid into the first team?
Yeah, obviously we had JT, John Terry, who'd made that step, so we knew it was possible, but I think the way the club kind of developed from when he broke into, from when we were in the academy was obviously a bit different, and yeah, we had players that had kind of got there, but not all the way. And yeah, there was always that motivation to kind of get to that stage, and then once you get there, to try and keep your place and try and impress the manager.
You went out on loan to Derby, Player of the Year. In your development, what did that mean for you?
I think that was probably the most important season, purely for the fact that it was the first time I played centre-back for a full season and actually played, you know, the majority of the games. That mentality of having to be on it every game, you know, for a team chasing the playoffs in the Championship, which is really difficult. That kind of brought a different kind of steel. I had to be a leader. I had to be talking, I had to be vocal.
How big of an influence was Frank for you there?
Massive. You know, he showed me a lot of confidence, a lot of trust.
I spoke to him, funny enough, before you answered that.
Oh, yeah.
I said to him, because when I see young defenders, I'm always like, what's he like? Is he a good player? Top levels? Where's he at? And he said, he's a good one. We've got a good one. And he said, keep an eye on this boy, because he'll perform. And you went and done that. So before you answer, I wanted to let you know.
Yeah, obviously it's nice to hear that from him, and obviously coming from Chelsea and he was the manager, you have that immediate respect for him. You know, the fact that he showed that confidence in me to play me, and even if the team didn't play too well, I didn't play too well, you know, he wasn't scared to put me back in and, you know, make me learn. And throughout the whole game and before the games, he would be telling me, oh, this is what I want you to do, this is how I want you to be. That constant feedback and that constant sort of coaching was really important.
Where do you look at yourself now and say, you know what, I need to improve that, that's what I need to improve on?
Yeah, looking back on my games, I think that it's kind of the...
Do you look back at your games, by the way?
Oh, yeah, of course,
clips and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, just looking back and trying to think about why I was standing in this position or why didn't I go here. Trying to put yourself back in that situation and think, well, if I put my body in this position, maybe I could have done this, or if I looked over my shoulder here, or, you know, just little things like that where you're trying to...
Tweak.
Kind of being, you know, really, really harshly critical of yourself to kind of, you know, perfect the game.
You came in, you've had an unbelievable run last season, took that into this season playing for Chelsea, playing for England, and then all of a sudden, you injuries, you miss a game, you don't get back into the team immediately. How do you deal with that from a mental perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult.
Are you banging the door down? Gaffer, I'm ready, put me back in, I'm ready. Or are you just really calm and you bide your time and feel confident in the manager knows your ability?
Yeah, I think I'm not banging his door down, because I know obviously I'm still learning the game, but you know, I want to kind of show that I'm ready on the training pitch. Trying to do that as much as possible, because I think that at the end of the day, it's the football that does the talking.
My role is called the Performance and Technical Advisor. I'm kind of the liaison between the board and the club and first team.
So Frank, ex-teammate, how do you think he's done so far?
Obviously, the big advantage is that everybody knows Frank from his playing time, the determination, his work ethic and personality. And if you put it together with the fact that we wanted to kind of unite the club in many ways, you know, the club knew there was the transfer ban for a part of the season, and we wanted to use the younger players as well. So you try to make this all work together in a nice cohesion. And obviously, having signed Frank and believe that he has a bright future as a manager.
So talking about the the new kind of ethos of the club in bringing young players through now. In your time, that probably wasn't as prominent as it is today. Is that something the club were going to try and do anyway, or was it forced upon them because of the transfer embargo?
Some of the players obviously got their chances because there was a transfer ban, so some of them maybe benefited from it. But I don't think it was the main. It was the main reason. You know, the main reason was that in the case of Tammy Abraham, or if you look at Mason Mount, loan spells last year, they've been absolutely brilliant in their clubs. And obviously, when you send a player on loan, you send him to get experience, much time, and then you hope they're gonna do well, and you can bring them back and put them in your team.
Brought the weather for you.
Well, I saw you look good in blue. Start seeing all my thin hair.
Mate, unbelievable. It's open, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the first time I've worn a blue bit of material. I don't normally get this welcome when I used to come to Stamford Bridge.
I know that. Get a nice bit of fizz, do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's beautiful. That's the thing that, remember we used to train outside at West Ham, just zipping the ball on the pitch and just, obviously a bit bobbly then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But this is perfect for him, isn't it? Yeah. Do you ever join in anymore or not?
I do a bit. I have problems with my calves. I keep pulling my calf when I try and sprint. Even when I jog, I pull my calf these days.
Are they sharper now than when we were? It looks sharp. It just feels like the players, but the sessions just feel they look sharper than when we played.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we did an unopposed thing there, which is always reliant on players doing it well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know what you were like. I used to hate in the old days anything unopposed, like shadow
so
play.
false.
It was so false, and you used to be like, oh, but now I think, you know, with some of the players, when you're trying to get a message, you actually sort of feel like sometimes it's the easiest way.
They can see it clearer, can't they? Yeah.
But if they come up and want to play slow or decide to not do what you want to do and all that stuff, then it kills it. But if you get the lads do it really
They
well.
look like they had it right on it then.
Yeah.
And that's relative to the game.
Yeah.
What you want in the games. Yeah.
We do a mixture of stuff, but like we do like some possessions which are sort of multi-directional and a bit of freedom just for your feeling in the past, understanding the relationships around you and what you want. You know, like we always talk about the old West Ham run, didn't we? Like the third man run, up and through. Yeah. Which is so relevant these days, and you know, people talk how the game moves on, of course it does, but those little up, back and throughs, just to know what you want and try and keep repeating them. Yeah, pace of pass.
All right, we'll let you get back in.
Yeah,
It's freezing.
You coming to lunch, yeah?
Yeah, all right, cool. Oh, mate.
You can take that home.
64.99, he said, I think I'll give it back.
Show some paper and go and get us a few goals, will you?
We're here, obviously, at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea versus Spurs, massive London rivalry. Made more aware of that since actually being here and feeling the kind of vibe here today, but also being at the training ground during the week. You look at the sign up there, player, manager, legend. They love him here. He warrants that love and affection because he put so much hard work into producing solid, consistent performances over the years, and the amount of goals he scored is phenomenal. But that doesn't give you the right to be a great manager, and I think he's got to earn that right. Frank's not silly, we understand that. That's going to take time. But I think the actual feeling around the club at the moment is they're desperate for him to do well. They want him to do well. They're happy he's here. But again, results will determine where he gets to. As a player, as a friend, as a mate, I know what Frank's about, but I don't know what he's about as a manager. I want to see how he's feeling in management. Is it hard? Is he found it easier? What's new? What has he surprised him in the job? So there's so much I want to ask him and get to the bottom of. Player to manager, West Ham days. Let's rewind back to them times. What's your memories of West Ham when we were there as kids?
Great memories. I remember you coming along being scouted, South London, and
By your dad?
By my dad, yeah. You had a good name for yourself at the time, and it was interesting, I suppose. We had a mix there of young players, and I was an Essex boy, private school kid. You come down up from South London, and I remember our relationship being really good. I think we both had a real desire to be players and make it into the first team, but we also could have a laugh. And in those days, it was the slightly tougher days of some long days training, lots of jobs in the middle of that, which were part of our learning curve, which I think made us sort of not just the players that maybe we became, but the people we became. And I suppose from being a player or being a manager now, I still remember all those details.
In your career, you went from West Ham to Chelsea. Obviously, Ranieri bought you, and then Jose Mourinho comes in and probably your most successful period. Have you taken anything from him? What was it? Give us an idea of what he was like first and foremost, but is any of that then you've taken into what your role is now?
Yeah, bits of that, certainly. I try to take bits out of all the managers I've played under, for good and for bad. Things you thought they were good and not so good, you leave to the side, you know, and whether that's on the pitch or whether that's those personal relationships we were just talking about. But with Jose, he made me sit up and take notice the minute he walked into the club. There wasn't really a manager that at Chelsea or my days before at West Ham, Harry was my uncle. It was a different relationship where I felt like he would text me, he would, you know, have casual conversation with you, and he built this sort of real quick relationship where you thought, oh, I feel at ease with him, but I know this man's going to drive me. And the other thing that you felt was that his self-confidence was so strong, and I was probably a little bit modest at the time. Can I play in the Champions League? Can I be the player, the big player, one of the big players for Chelsea? Kind of walked in the room and said, we're going to be the best, I'm the best, you lot are going to be the best, or thereabouts already. And probably being quite impressionable, I was 25 or something, I probably sucked that in as much as I took in any tactical messages. I couldn't tell you, oh, he told me I need to run here because Makelele does that. That obviously went on. But the thing that strikes me is what he did for me as a personality. So there's something I try and do now with the players, is try in my own way to be influential on how they are and how they see themselves as players.
So obviously you went on to have a fabulous career, won all sorts, and then you transfer into being a manager. I never saw you as being a manager, if I'm being honest. We were, as kids growing up, talking all the time. You had other things going on off the pitch, family, etc. And then we were on the set with BT one day, and you said, listen, I think I might take a job. I was like, where did that come from? Was you prepared? Did you have it in your mind all the time?
I didn't have it in my mind all the time, but it grew on me a lot, particularly from my 30s onwards. But as a player, you never really kind of get hold of it. You think, I'm just too focused on playing. I didn't have time to go too far down that road. I knew I wanted time off, and the media was great. I loved it. It felt like it was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Some more holiday time, but at the same time you're analysing games, you're within the game, and I loved that part of it. But there was something within me that felt like I wanted to do it. And it probably came sooner than what I thought, because my plan was not to actually do it necessarily then. But when Harry Redknapp called me and Mel Morris wanted to speak to him about the Derby job, it was like, I'll take that meeting, of course, let's see what that is. It was a big jump if I was ever going to do it. But when Mel sold the club to me and I saw the challenge that it was, I kind of went, what am I waiting for if I don't take this one? It was a big challenge, it was going to be tough, but it was just something inside me that felt like this is the one to take. And you know, at the time I had loads of doubts. You don't want to broadcast those at the time, because you want to walk in the building and go, yeah, I'm ready for this, I know what I'm going to do here. And I did, I had a plan, but at the same time there were loads of doubts within me. But the minute I started the job, the doubts slowly go away, because you just have experiences.
So you get the opportunity then to come to Chelsea. Dream job, tick. Did it ever go through your mind where you thought, you know what, this has come too soon for me, I might have to give this one a pass? Or was it just like, this is too good to be true, I cannot turn this down, this opportunity might not come again, so I'm going to take it?
More that. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't naive enough to think that people wouldn't question it was too early for me. I clearly knew that, and people were saying it at the time, some people. But it was certainly a dream job. And the opportunity, I felt, will it come again? I knew from last year how hard it was in the Championship, and the idea of coming to Chelsea. I also saw the difficulties of the ban, and the fact that the expectations here will always be high, and this year was going to be tough. But I couldn't turn it down, really. I couldn't. It's my club. I love playing here. It brought me back to London, to a place that I know well. Whether that gives me an advantage in the long term, I know it so well, I don't know, but it certainly helped the first day I walked in the building, and I knew faces, and I know culture, and I know what the fans want, and I'd followed them so closely over the last few years since I packed up and left here. I would always watch Chelsea and feel it a bit like a fan. So I think I had something in my favour there, and then it was just, I want to take this on. I've been a player at this club. I wasn't scared of the idea of it going wrong as a manager, because I think as you get older, that worry of, oh, I played and then I ruined it all as manager. No, I'm going to give it everything as a manager. I don't think it would change anything about the days I had it playing. I just now want to do the best I can do here.
So at the moment, results have been a bit indifferent in this period. How do you deal with that in terms of yourself as a new manager, but also making sure you've got command of the players for them to understand these periods do happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a challenging part of management and football. And I think the first thing you completely understand when you take on this role is that as a player, you can be led, or you have your teammates around you. As a manager, you have to lead the feeling about what it is. So whether you're going through a tough time and results are not quite going for you, you're searching for the reasons, searching with your staff on the training pitch and that, but you must be positive. There's no way you can be negative when you're a club like Chelsea. The only way out of tough times, as far as I ever know, is firstly hard work, and secondly how your mindset is and the belief that you can change things. And we certainly have that here, because it doesn't feel like a tough time where we can't, we can't get hold of a game. We can't see that we're going to create chances. Every time we're conceding far too many goals. We're conceding too many goals, but we are creating a lot of chances and dominating a lot of games. So there are loads of positives that you see, and there are things that we know we need to tighten up on. And the unfortunate thing for us is that they've been in both boxes, and that's where you win and lose football games.
This season, Chelsea's biggest problem has been consistency. Finding a balance, attacking defensively, but also just that consistency of results. They get a good result or two, then they fall back with a bad negative result. So they just haven't been able to manage to kill teams off, which has been disappointing, because I think some of their performances have warranted better results. I didn't really realise how big a game this was. You know what I mean? I know it's a big game, but I didn't think this is almost on a par with the North London derby, the way that the Chelsea fans see it, especially. So a lot riding on this game, and I think you expect a good game today.
Here's the chance for Olivier Giroud from the angle, and then Barkley. Oh, he's hit the woodwork. Giroud again, and this time it's in. Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0. Mason Mount. Here's Ross Barkley. Alonso. Oh, that's brilliant. What a finish from Marcus Alonso. And the full-time whistle. And the Stamford Bridge roar tells you Chelsea have got over the finish line.
What is the remit for Frank Lampard and Chelsea this year? When you got the job, is it Champions League? Is it Europa's fine? If not, what happens there? Where are you with that?
Well, from my point of view, it always was Champions League, top 4 in the league. Because I think in reality, and Liverpool proven it now clearly this season, it's going to be tough for us to bridge the gap, considering particularly the fact that the gap was already there and we had the ban and we lost Eden. And I sound like I always refer to it, but he was such a huge part of this club in the last 6-7 years.
Best player in the league.
Yeah. To come in the top 4, I knew would be a challenge. I knew that from the beginning. And I've always spoken positively about our ability to get there. I also feel positively about that, but I know we have to be at our absolute best, and we've got a fight on our hands for it now. So I understand that as we sit here now, that 4th is going to be tough, but we're in position to try and get it. In terms of the remit, for me personally, I see a longer picture. I see the fact that if we can come 4th, or if we don't come 4th, because that's a reality, in the summer we will make changes and add to the squad where we can improve the squad. I work closely with the club on that, and we'll work to do that, and that'll be important for us, because we missed a window, we were banned, and then the window where it didn't work for us to find the right player to bring in. You see the Guardiola years and the Klopp years and their 3-4 year processes, which have been incredible coaches, incredible work, and great recruitment at the right times, that have seen them become these formidable outfits. So we're far from that, but we have to work in our own way, not try and copy those exact models, but in our own way as Chelsea. We've got academy players coming through and getting in the team, as you said before. Tick, that's great, they're coming into the team. We've got some experienced players already that have been here and know what it is about Chelsea. And of course, as time moves on, we'll look to bring in ones that can help us go even further.
Chelsea just run out 2-1 winners. Really impressive from Chelsea, especially in the first half. They showed their intent, their desire. They were aggressive. I think Mason Mount and Barkley were the real triggers in winning the ball back really early, and then obviously setting their way off to go and play a little bit of attacking of football from that. But I think all in all, Chelsea were the better team. I think Frank showed his own style of passion. I think this game means a lot to Frank. I think from a personal perspective, the Spurs fans have always been on his case, and it is a derby. So I think he tried to get that across to these players to understand what it means to him and what that should mean as them as players as well. After being around the squad, being around the management, being here at the stadium, I think it's an evolution. I don't think it's a complete change, and he's ripped up the rule book from before and really gone about it. This is Frank Lampard's way, and that's the only way. This is gradual change, little details that he'll be trying to implement over a period of time, and again, he hasn't been able to go and fishing in that transfer market. He's had to go and shuffle the pack from within, and he's finding out new things about each and individual player. And listen, if Frank finishes 4th this season, then that's it. He'll be in next season as well. But if he doesn't, then I think the club will see that the jury's out, and then it's a decision to be made. But I think if he finishes 4th with what he's had to deal with in the transfer market, integrating young players into the squad, then it's a no-brainer. He'll be here next season.